Okay, we did get a pop-up screen that says sessions being recorded. Artemis. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our pilot class from California Zoroastrian Center Public Relations Group, Gatha discussion. To clarify, Mitra and I are not linguists, scholars, or researchers. We are only admirers of Zarathustra's timeless message, and as such, what we share with you is purely our interpretation. This class will not cover every verse of the Gathas. The goal is to keep this class short and to the point in hopes of self-reflection for us all. Gathas were written in poetic format. You can read it, sing it, or chant it any which way you like. There are no rules. At the end of our talk, feel free to write your questions in the chat box, and we will try to get to your questions as best we can. I am going to share my screen with the verse that we've chosen for this session. Before we do that, I want to just do a brief discussion about what are the Gathas, what it is. It is a small book. It's a booklet of barely 60 pages, 4.5 by 7.5 inches. It has 241 stanzas in all, a total of less than 6,000 words, enough to read them all within an hour. Its 17 songs were composed by Ashavan Zarathustra's Pitama. This is what he wanted to leave for his present and future companions, a thought-provoking message. All other talks, sayings, and statements said by him in prose or even poetry on the daily life of 4,000 years ago belong to his time and are naturally lost. What is left as an eternal message is his coherent Gathas. So the verse we've chosen for this discussion is Yasna 30.2. I am going to read it because I was not blessed with good vocal cords, so I will not attempt to sing it to scare you all off. This verse, Saraota Geoshaish Vahishta, Aventa Socha Mananka, Averanao Vachitahya, Narim Narem Hohiai Tanoye, Para Maze Ya Onko, Ahmai ne Sastayai Bodanto Haiti. Now, the key items on this are Socha Mananka, which means clear mind, bright intellect. Narim Narem, man and woman for each one. Vichitahya, choice. I'm going to share the translation, two different scholars' translation of this particular verse. As you see, there are different ways of saying basically the same message, but one of them uses much less common language, so it's a little harder to digest. We have chosen to go with Dr. Jaffrey's interpretation, which is hear the best with your ears and ponder with a bright mind. Then each man and woman for his or herself select either of the following two. Awaken to this doctrine of ours before the great event of choice ushers in. And I turn this over to Mitra for discussion.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So let me just give you a little bit of a background why we're doing this. Long time ago, we are both born in Zoroastrians. So our family always told us to recite Avesta, which is Gathas is a part of Avesta. We never focus on Gathas. It was a lot of prayers that we had to memorize, and to this day we know it. But after we were introduced to the Gathas, ironically in America here, we decided, both of us, we are not reciting the rest of the Avesta anymore, which we can. But the point is that the Gathas, after you read it, after you understand it, you just apply it to everyday life and you teach it to your children how to live in this world. And it's ironic that 4,000 years ago, somebody named Zarathustra, who was a brilliant man, had the vision of how to choose his words and the concepts that came to him in a way that you can use it every day at every age. We teach classes at our center to children of from 6 to 18. And our focus is on the class that has teenagers from 14 to 18. And it is amazing that you can use this one verse and talk about it and teach them how to live everyday life as a teenager. So in this small verse, and that's why we're trying to discuss it. We don't teach the Gathas, we just read it and discuss it and understand what it really has to say, or interpretations of it. This is my way of explaining it. I tell you, you listen to it, just like any other student. You like it, you take on with it. You don't agree with it, you question it. And that is what we have to promote. You question everything you hear. It may not come to you the way that it came to me, or my understanding is different than your understanding, because even in this verse, it says that every human being is granted with a good mind. I want to compare that to like one principle in Christianity. In Christianity, we have studied a little bit of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Satanism, all other kind of religions, Buddhism. So in Christianity, for example, and this is just an example so I can tell you what I'm talking about. In Christianity, everybody is born with a sin. You are born a sinner. And that is the premises in that religion. Now, in Zoroastrianism, if you listen to what Zarathustra had to say, everybody is born with a great mind. There's a huge difference. And this great mind, this is the beginning of what we are, who we are. With this great mind, you can experience freedom of choice, the fact that you are capable of choosing. And then later on in the same verse, it's talking about gender equality, because Zarathustra is talking to men and women at the same time. Nobody is better, nobody is stupider, nobody is smarter. He's just talking to humanity. And back then it was men and women, and he talked to everyone and he presented his ideas to everyone equally. So with that said, when we teach this verse, when we talk about it, it's not even teaching it, we discuss it. We discuss this verse, we see that, yes, you have a great mind, you have a clear mind. Now, your choice is to use it or not to use it. And then after that comes the choice. Once you have that great mind, in our class, we talk to the teenagers and I usually tell them, it's just like when you're born, you have the hardware. It's just like a computer. You have the hardware. And the software is when whatever you put in there. So we are built with this great mind. It's there at neutral. You have to supplement it. You have to nourish it. You have to put information in it. And then that great mind will be able to make decisions, make choices, do right, find the truth, all the things that come in other verses of the Gathas. That was my understanding of the Gathas, that it gives you the tools to understand how important understanding, analyzing, thinking, learning, all of that is. That is the priority. The priority in this religion is not to follow. Zarathustra never wanted anybody to follow him. Zarathustra wanted everybody, by reading his verses, by listening to him, to understand that you can take on this universe with your mind, but you have to learn before you can do that. It is a knowledge, logic-based religion or way of life or, ideology, philosophy, whatever you want to call it. As long as we understand the fact that the information is out there and it's our job as Zoroastrians to learn it and to use it. in a positive way. So this one verse, it's not even the first verse of the Gathas. We just picked it. And we just want to let you know that any of the verses of the Gathas will bring you to that conclusion that it's up to you to understand this universe and to be in harmony with it and to take on the challenges. It is you, because you have that hardware filled with good software. So basically, it's a very simple idea. However, it's profound and it's hard to do. Once again, following the Gathas, bringing it to life is hard work. It's up to the individual. Nobody can do it for you, not your parents, not your teachers. They can present you with all this information, but it's up to you how you want to use it. And that's what the Gathas are. Every verse gives you an opportunity, a key to understanding your own mind better, to nourish it, to use it. So in this verse, it's alluding to the fact that there is gender equality. So we have to, as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, as an old person, you always remember that this concept that you are equal, given the equal opportunity, you are equal because you have equally, you should equally cherish that good mind that you're given at birth. We're not talking about anomalies. I mean, I don't think Zarathustra back then had the science or the knowledge of all these things that we have now, all the findings that has happened in the past thousands of years. But he had the vision, and it's his vision that is so valuable. He knew one day will come that we can discuss this on an astrological level, at scientific level, biological level. Everything that there is, we can explain, we can tap into, we can use, and we can abuse. So all of this is in this one verse that he's saying that listen to me with your bright mind. Assumption is it's a bright mind. It's not a weak mind. It's not a diseased mind. It's not a sinful mind. It is a bright mind with the potential to learn, to grow, to be better, to be progressive. Is all on a positive note. And then the fact that at the end of it, we can choose. That is our privilege. That is our right. It's not a gift. It's something that you have to go and attain after you have a good mind. A lot of people think that, okay, so we're equal and we have freedom of choice. Yeah, but the point is that that bright mind comes first. Fill it up with bright ideas, with good ideas, with useful ideas, and then you can practice freedom of choice. All of these three are in one verse. And as simple as that, it's like going from point A to point B to point C. And we can apply it at everyday life. Like when we teach our children in the class, we tell them about drug abuse. How does that work? Why shouldn't you do it? There's always a reason. Why do you have to start? We discussed it in our class. Why is it age 18 or 21 when they say you're adult at age 18? Why not at 15? Why not at 12? And all of those have some biology behind them. Why do we not have freedom of choice for a 2-year-old? They don't know enough. They can't choose. A lot of times, you all are old enough to see this when you go to a supermarket and all of the candy and gum and all those fast food stuff are at the register and at the eye level of the child. They do that on purpose as a marketing gimmick because a child cannot choose. A child would want all of them. They look good, they're sweet, they are delicious. So they put it at the eye level of a child to sell. But in reality, a child should not have freedom of choice because they don't know enough. So every parent will pick and choose for their children until they learn this is not good for you, this would harm you, this is better for you, this would make you healthy, and this is a progression in humanity. As a child, you get no choices. As you get older, as you learn more, as you can analyze and use your good mind with all the information that you have received, the society gives you more choices. When you're 18, you're an adult. So you better have a lot more responsibilities in your choices. If you choose wrong, you get punished by society and the norm of that society. When you're 18, 19, 20, your parents can't tell you what to wear, where to go, because they assume, and the society assumes, you've had enough time to learn and to put good ideas in your mind and to use your good mind. And then now it's time to choose. So everything is a chronological order, even in the Gathas, which was written 4,000 years ago. So it's common sense, but you have to teach somebody. There was a psychotherapist, I just want to share this with you because all the kids get it. There was a psychotherapist that was saying that in creation, human beings are the only creatures that have to learn to be human. A cat is born a cat. A dog is born a dog. A dog is a dog, is a dog, is a dog at any stage of life. A chicken, when gives birth or the chicken hatches, the chicklets, they don't depend 100% on the parent. Humans do. And that is good and it's bad. First of all, it's good because then you can become more advanced as you grow older, as you learn, as somebody teaches you to walk, to talk, when to cry, when to laugh, what to eat, not to eat. It's all a teaching venue. It's just like a traveling through time, becoming more and more and more a human. And hopefully, the hope is that because you can, because you have the potential, you will reach that good point of being a good human, a progressive human, somebody who can increase or renew this existence. But other animals, a tree is a tree is a tree. They get bigger and bigger. They don't get any more advanced. Other animals in the kingdom are the same. But we have to understand that we have to learn to become better and more. And that's what the Gathas teaches you by saying you have a bright mind. Now, the rest of it is up to you. So this one verse teaches me that I have to be self-reliant. I have to take responsibility. I have to learn. I have to seek to learn. It's my job. A teacher can be the best teacher out there in the world. The best books are out there. Google this, Google that. Everything is at your fingertip. But the point is, until you actually go and do it and understand it and analyze it and pursue it and to use it in life, it's nothing. So it's just a step toward understanding yourself. And that is the beauty of the Gathas. It tells you you need to understand yourself. It teaches you you need to become more, to become better. You cannot stay an idle. You have to be going forward. You cannot go backward. And this is all teachings. This is all, and the teaching is different from you, than Fariba, than I. We all look at the same set of information, but we get different information. We understand it differently. But as long as the end point is for you to become a more advanced person, a better person, that's cool. That's what it is. That's why Gathas are so important. The rest of the Avesta is nice. There are prayers, there are good words, but to become a better person, a Zoroastrian must understand the Gathas and to follow it to their own liking. So if anybody has any questions, we'll be more than happy to discuss it. I don't necessarily will answer your question because, like I said, this is my take. As Mitra, this is how I understand Zarathustra's words. And you're welcome to have your own way.
I don't have any questions.
Any questions, you guys? Any comments?
So I think one of the difficult things about this is the part about illuminated judgment. That's very hard to do because as human beings, we have different limitations. For example, we may need to work with someone, but we don't like them for whatever reason. So we have to kind of look beyond that and see the thing that we're going to do together, what benefits does it have? And it's a hard thing to do. So it's, I find Zoroastrian religion and Zarathustra's teaching is something that I have to work at every day and kind of get into different psyches of myself and try to improve. And it's not very easy. So that was wonderful. Thank you. That's my challenge.
It is a challenge. It is not an easy religion because you're not supposed to follow. You're supposed to go on your own. This is the only religion that says you're on your own because you can. No, not everybody is as intelligent as the next person. No, not everything comes easy to everybody, but everybody on its own can be better, can understand more. Nobody is perfect, but nobody is totally imperfect. Even the one that is, people who are born with difficulties and challenges in their own right, if they understand that being better is something that you can do, reach out and get help. Reach out and seek something that would make you better. The understanding that it's up to you most of the times, not all of the times. So we can't talk about 100% of the population of humanity, but most of the times for normal people, if whatever normal is, it is the understanding that, okay, it's up to me. I am responsible for my happiness. I am responsible for my errors. I am responsible for do the right thing. Nobody else can do that for me. The understanding that it's you and not a God that would help you or answer your prayer, or because you have to, because of your fears going to hell or heaven, there is no such a thing. That understanding is liberating. So you don't blame others. You don't blame Mother Nature. You don't blame anything else. You just say, okay, it was my shortcoming. I should have done better. I should have chosen another path. That understanding is very hard because human nature, we like easy stuff. We like the easy way out. And if you're a true Zoroastrian, if you're living a Zoroastrian life, no, it's hard. But then you have the tools. You actually have the tools. You just have to reach down, find it, and use it.
So I was wondering, what does everyone think about the last sentence in that verse? It says to make the choice before the big event. I was wondering what everyone thinks, what he meant by the big event. Fariba, maybe you can put it up again so everybody can take a look. Maybe we can ask everybody what they think. So in the last sentence, it says, awaken to this doctrine of ours before the great event of choice ushers in. So I was just wondering what everybody thinks, what or when this great event of choice is. And Dinsha Irani, I guess, great event, choice each must have at each great event. So what do you think? I don't know.
Since I have so much opinions about everything, let me tell you first that what I think that the result of your choice, when you make a choice, the result of that choice is that event. I'll give you one example. In my class, I always get examples of what happens at my job, my work, and it is being human and it is everyday life. So I'm a pharmacist. And at work, a lot of times we make decisions. And I have told this story to a lot of people. So when COVID hit, this is a true story and it's what happened. When COVID hit and people in government, some people in government, higher, government positions, they talked about that one drug, hydroxychloroquine, being the cure for COVID, which wasn't true. And a lot of people rushed to their doctor's offices and they asked for this prescription. They pressured the doctors to write this prescription and for them to have it. And it wasn't the right choice because FDA didn't approve it. There was going to be a shortage for people who actually need that drug. This was not a very useful tool for this disease, but people just heard it, they panicked, they wanted the doctors to write it. So a lot of doctors did. They wrote the prescription for hydroxychloroquine. We knew it was being given for COVID. And in the pharmacy community, it was frowned upon, but not everybody made the right choice. So I was one of the ones who made the right choice, and I would argue with the doctor's office. I would argue with the patient who came to seek it. I would argue with my coworkers because they didn't want to rock the boat. I would argue with the staff that said, you're trying to just cause too much chaos, too much problems. And I didn't care. I always made that choice, and it wasn't an easy choice. It was the right choice for the time because of all the data saying that this drug is not the drug of choice for this disease, this new disease with all the side effects it was causing, all the drug interactions. And the great event was the result. At the end of the day, many, many times, I had fought with the doctor on the phone, getting really upset. The customer would come and wanted their prescription. I wouldn't fill it because it was my right to refuse it. And they would be mad at me. They would just go and yell at me or whatever. My coworkers would not talk to me because they didn't want to rock the boat. So everything that you look, end of the day, it wasn't happy. It was a lot of stress for me, but that was my choice. My choice was to just tolerate all that happened afterwards, but make the right decision for that person because I didn't want him to get sicker, for other people who were on that drug to be able to purchase the drug for the indication that is indicated for, which is rheumatoid arthritis. So this is one example of everyday life. I had to make that decision and I lived with it. I would come home and my husband and daughter would yell at me, why do you make enemies? Everybody thought the way they thought, but I still went against those wishes. And for my profession, I made the right choice. And eventually, 6 months to 8 months later, everybody was on my side because it was definitely frowned upon by FDA, by DEA, by CDC, all of them. And it was not supposed to be happening. So that was the great event, the result. This is my life story. I made that choice. And I waited for that great event to happen. So other people have different experiences. Just bring it back to everything that you experience in life. Your choices have, results that you may or may not like.
What do you think, Divya?
About what Mitra said or about the
No, would you think that great? No, that's just her experience. What can you relate that to?
I can't think of an experience, but from reading the verse, for me it was, if there's a situation, depending on your good thoughts or your destructive mind, you'll get that kind of an outcome. So whether you follow a progressive path or a destructive path will be the results and the outcome. So you can have the same outcome, but it will just be either or. So that's what I interpreted from it.
Okay. Asa, what do you think?
To me, so many questions come to my mind when Fariba was just explaining that situation. So, Fariba, you have this kind of the wisdom or the knowledge or that information that you decided to get that path against all other people, while the other one didn't have that knowledge or wisdom. But eventually, when the time passed, they get to the point that what you're saying was right. But I'm just saying how like I'm just wondering. So you knew the result was to get that decision would have a beneficial result for everyone. But what if nobody would have agreed with you till even now? My question is, so people get the wrong decision, but they don't know it's a wrong decision at the moment. And it will affect not even themselves, but lots of other human in the world too. But what if they don't see the result? So this verse at the end says, till the great event. So we're
But it talks about choice first. It says to make the right choice. To make the right choice, you have to back it up with logic. You have to back it up with data. You have to back it up with facts. I had all of them. At that time, there was logic, there was data, drug interaction, a lot of side effects, then shortage of the drug for people who really, really needed it. There was a lot of facts. And all of the people that I told you did not back it up, they knew it. They just didn't want to rock the boat because it's a hard thing to face. Who wants people out there to be yelling at you, screaming at you? Who the hell are you? Why are you going against a doctor's decision? It is hard sometimes to follow what is right, but it's a decision. I made that decision because I wasn't afraid. I looked at the bottom line. Eventually, these people will see or not see, it doesn't matter. So if something happened to this person, it's not going to be on me because I did the right thing. That person, those people probably went to another pharmacy. The doctor called the same prescription and the pharmacist did it. Because ultimately, if something, God forbid, happened, everybody's blamed down the line. But the first one would be the doctor. If that doctor doesn't want to take the heat and write the prescription just to let it go, just to pacify the patient. And the patient says, no, it's my body. I want to put whatever I want in my body. And then something, and the pharmacist says, okay, the doctor made the decision. You want it. Who am I to stop you? But the buck stops at the pharmacy level. That's why there is a system of check and balance. I was ready to get the blame, to get yelled at, because I knew at the end, if something happens, I'd be in that trail of people who are responsible because I'm the one who's dispensing it. So logic, I was not just going by emotion. I was going by what is the fact, what will happen. So if I stop it, yes, they can go and complain and say this pharmacist is such and such, doesn't want to do it. But the law would back me up. Pharmacy board would back me up. Pharmacy manager will back me up. Because it says it's your decision. It's your professional decision. Doctors can do that too. They can just tell the patient no. A lot of patients go to the doctors and say, this is what I want. I saw it on Google. This will help me. And it's not true. But a lot of doctors just to say, okay, whatever, they want to keep the patients, they're under pressure. They say, fine. But somebody who agrees with this verse of the Gathas will make the right decision and then wait for the result and accept it. It wasn't a good result. Whatever happened that day or those days that I did this, it wasn't good, but it was the right thing. And we are told to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because it makes us happy or, very favorable, or, people come and say, oh, there's a bouquet of flowers for you because you listened to me, because you did what I asked you to do. So it's a lot of decision making, and it can happen at any age, at a young age, at an old age. When you don't think about just me, that means that you're not self-righteous. Whatever is right for me, you're not supposed to do that. In Zoroastrianism, you're supposed to be righteous, and being righteous is not about me. It's about everything that connects. It's about all these people, the doctor, the co-worker. So they see what I'm doing. Maybe they learn for later to stand up for what's right and not just to back up and, just to go, okay, I don't want to be yelled at. Nobody likes to be yelled at. But sometimes you take the heat because you have something, you have made a choice that you can back it up with whatever data or facts or whatever there is, that is the right choice.
The thing that comes to my mind is basically getting a decision in the human world. Sometimes it's the hardest one.
It is.
But in reality, it shouldn't be. It actually should be the easiest one. The hard part is to convince people who are not thinking.
Yes, that is true. But look at humanity now. The
Yeah.
majority of the people, 90% of population,
Don't want to use their
don't
thought.
want to think. They don't
Yeah.
want to make a decision. It's made for them. God said it's okay. God said in such and such book, abortion is wrong. Nobody is willing, not nobody, but most people are not willing to think, to make that hard decision. Zarathustra said, excuse me, you are in charge of that decision. Every single one of us.
To me, it's like getting a right decision. It shouldn't be the hard one. It's actually the easiest one. Like, that's the reality. That's the fact. If you don't like it, that's the feelings that make you manipulated. So put that feeling away, think. That's logic, take it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by people who don't want to do that. And it makes it hard because the majority don't want to do the right thing. The majority want to do the easy thing. And that's why it's hard to be living a Zoroastrian life, because you try to go against the norm of the community and the society, because most people pick the shortcut. Most people take the easy way. That's their choice. That is their choice. And they'll see the result. Look at us now. Look at how this universe is running now. It's because nobody is trying, majority is not trying to do the right thing. That's why. Caleb, come on in.
Okay, so I have my own ideas about the verse, but also wanted to kind of say something quick about what you guys were saying. I feel like just as important as doing the right thing is also doing the right thing in the right way, because you can look at the society, or like society, for instance, and think, okay, fossil fuels and whatnot are a terrible thing, but if you were to just take them all away, much worse stuff would happen, because a lot of people would die of starvation because food couldn't get somewhere, whatnot. And a lot of the time, the problem is you can think of what would be the right thing to do, but then other people will have a slightly different opinion, or they won't agree with you. So then it's suddenly, I can't accomplish this goal because I don't have the means to. So I have to find out a much more complex way of finding out what's right and what should I do, and what's the right way to go about it. Because I could think something's right, but then if I go about it militantly, I might end up doing a lot of wrong, because I thought that, oh, doing wrong then therefore makes something right. So that's my opinion on that. But as far as the verse, I sometimes wonder if maybe great event of choice is something is lost in the nuance there in translation, just because like in the rest of the Yasna, there's a lot of talk about there being this this great chariot, quote unquote, chariot race between truth and the lie, to use more simplistic translations of them. And there's a lot of talk about all this stuff. So I think the idea, at least as far as I see it, is there's also talk that I can't remember which verse it is, but it's just something along the lines of the chariot pole attachment of the lie breaks, and then this is a little bit more direct translation, and then the Ahura Mazda and the good mind and Asha will win the race. So I think it's trying to say like that good, the true correct order of the universe is going to win out in the end. And, people, before that happens, perhaps a bit metaphorically on his part, people need to choose whether they're going to ally themselves with that, or whether they're going to continue doing things in their own short-sighted self-interest and whatnot. So I think that's what he means by the great event of choice, is the ultimate winning of good over evil, which is kind of like a comforting thought, that even if things are bad in your day, it just means that the world hasn't progressed to that yet. So you still need to. So I feel like it's also a message not just to the individual, but to humanity, or probably anything that can really think like we do, that it's, you know, that you need to make a decision about whether or not you want to support how things should ideally be before before it's too late, I guess. So that's my 2 cents on that first.
It's worth a lot more than 2 cents. And I agree
Yes.
with you. When you said that we shouldn't go after something that is right militantly, I personally, this is my belief that most things are not black and white at all. Most things are in the gray area. And that's why individual choices are so important. Humanity is built upon all these individuals. Every single one of us count in some sense. So if we try to do the right thing, whatever, based on what we know, based on what we learn, then it becomes better. The problem is that, in my opinion, again, this is my take on it, that humanity is not doing that. The majority of people are not doing that because they were not told that it's your responsibility. That is the problem. Historically, you know, civilizations after civilization, not every civilization has promoted that. Not every civilization has put it on individual people to be good, to do the right thing for the humanity. And that's the problem. So everybody thinks that, okay, I'm here for, you know, the few days to be here, happy, rich, powerful, and then the rest of it is none of my business. And that is, I think, that is ultimately the problem with us right now. But if you live a Zoroastrian life, if you actually know that it's your responsibility to make it better for all, then we are just one step ahead of other people. And that's where we should be. Paribashun, you're the last,
Yes.
but the best.
No, one thing regarding the decision, I see some people that in the pharmacy, they deny birth control to others because they believe that that they shouldn't use it, and this make a problem for other people that they wanted to use it for different reason. And this actually, like they said, so we have a choice, and this is like our belief, and like they force it on other. And this is like the reverse of the situation that you explained.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, they go into the fight, and eventually the patient has to go to other pharmacy and took it. And this is the importance of shows the importance of the choice that has effect on the life of others and other all the rest of the society. And in my my understanding of the verse is that I consider all the effect and the aftermath of my decision and the result of what would be, and then make a decision for whatever event or whatever like important things that I have to decide it. And then when I consider all the aspects of this decision, I stay on my decision, and I never go back and change my decision because of the surrounding and the force of others to make changes of that decision. And this is my understanding of that verse.
Okay. Well, see, everybody has a different take on it, and that's perfectly fine. And that means that human mind works. Mine works differently than yours. You know, we are similar, but that is perfectly okay. By Zarathustra's standards, he said, listen to it and then make up your own mind. And that is the beauty of it. The Gathas is not a guideline. It's firm thing that you have to do this. It tells you on each verse that is up to you. You are in charge. You have the power. You can. And in my opinion, that's the beauty of the Gatha verses. It is not anything to be memorized. It's not mandated for anybody to just translate it or whatever. Once you understand it, you just go on with your life. And then hopefully you understand that you're responsible. You have the greatest responsibility for your life and people who are associated with you and things that are happening surrounding you. And you are one of the key points in humanity. You do matter. We matter individually. And hopefully one day there are enough good people. They don't have to be Zoroastrians. They just have to understand this whole concept. Nobody has to convert. Nobody has to say that, yeah, I'm a Zoroastrian. There are so many people that believe in this. They're atheists. They're, other from other religions,
Yes.
but they believe in science. They believe in logic. They believe in progression. They live it in
Correct.
being good. So that's what we are here to convey.
Yes, good.
Hopefully, this has been an enlightening class, not bored you, and we all learned something from each other. And we actually went longer than we planned to go. So we hope to do this again next month.
Thank you all for joining us. I always tell